This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day as always. Today's theme is something a little bit different. And I was thinking about this, and it's such a broad spectrum that you can't just nail it down, because then it becomes individual choice and then a popularity contest to some degree, and everybody has their own. So I really would love everybody's input as to what they think, because I know I'm going to miss a ton of this. But what is the greatest war game of all time? And I'm going to go over a few and try to get your feel for it. Do you go simplified, like a Tactics 2, the early on, the history behind that game, how that game was the biggest war game at one point, because it was one of the first to do what it did. Some people might say chess. Okay, all right, I get that, but we're talking traditional war game. Chits, all that kind of stuff, blocks, whatever fits into a period of time and a war game. And I thought of this, is it something like Tactics 2, or do you really go something really heavy and deep like Atlantic Wall, as flawed as it was? The Europa series, which was a monumental task by GDW. Second Front, Scorched Earth, things like that. Another game flawed, and they never finished with the Grand Europa, even though I believe there's a website that you can actually go check that out. Or is there more modern war gamers now, where we start talking about Memoir 44, Command and Colors, Napoleon, Ancients, in that realm? Do we start talking about the last 20 years and what moves people now? Twilight Struggle, which sat on top of Board Games Geek's top list for God knows how long, until it got knocked out. Do we look at games like that, or do we look really complex and talk about World in Flames? Is that considered one of the greatest war games of all time? The Coin series, which is another one that is more of a modern feel to it and has more of a broad appeal. Would that be considered one of the greatest war games of all time? For me, when I think, it becomes a personal thing for me, and how I look at it, my experiences, the things that I had, what do I consider fantastic, great games, that I consider the greatest games of all time. For me, I go Panzer Blitz, because of the memories that were built from it. So it becomes one of the greatest games of all time. But when I think of, if I had to look at everything as a whole, and how a game can move a culture, and wargaming is a culture, and I think through the years, and its loyalty, and its groups, and the way people are so loyal to this game, and how it just keeps evolving, and it's been here for forever. It has to be ASL. Squad Leader, you can bring that in, Advanced Squad Leader, and it's mountainous books for complexity, but it's loyal following. It's following where you probably need a degree in science at times, but there have been supplements that have come out to break the game down, to make it easier for beginners. And you could play it as hard and as complex as you want. But when I think of a game that has spanned and touched so many different lives, I look to ASL. You know, I look to a lot of the Avalon Hill games. Okay, I can't discount the Coin series, which is phenomenal. I can't discount Twilight Struggle. I can't discount Command and Colors for what it does and how that it has evolved. You know, you could play it on the board. I've seen Richard Borg at conventions take it and play it on a 12-foot table and fill it full of miniatures. You know, that and Memoir 44. You know, we can't leave that out. Some of the Second Fleet, which was a very good game from Victory Games. It becomes a very, very hard thing. You know, when I start thinking of modern games and some of the stuff that may move people and make people say, hey, this is the greatest game. You know, how do you not go with the Conflict of Heroes, old school tactical, some of the Armageddon War, all those type of games for players that are just getting into it. I could see where they would say that has to be the greatest game all time. But being an elder statesman like myself and a lot of you out there, I wonder what your thoughts are. I wonder what you think is the greatest war game of all time. I threw out a whole bunch of games here. You can even go Interceptor Ace for its ingenuity. You know, Mr. Smith has done a fantastic job with that series, and there are tons of different. American Bomber you can go with, Ghost Panther, which is a very solid series. What do you feel is the greatest of all time? I kind of feel, for me, I have to look at ASL because of how I explained earlier. And on a personal note, Panzer Blitz, which is just very meaningful, was in a lot of homes. You know, that has to be somewhere in there. So I look forward to what you think, what your thoughts are, and how you see and what you see as the greatest war game of all time. As always, I look forward to your comments below and your thoughts, and I can't wait to maybe bring this back if we get enough replies and say, hey, this is the consensus of everyone, and see where there's a common ground and talk about that even further. Until next time, it is your old pal Rob saying, we'll see you soon.
The game, and you could get this from Miniature Market, right, Grandpa?
You can get this from Miniature Market. That's right.
Yeah, everything you need. Bye.